Hey, what's up, guys? Hello to the whole of YouTube, and this is Sofa Chat. Sofa Chat is a YouTube-based web series slash talk show where I, Joey Phoenix, just talk about things, life, and more things in general. So, little update: I have been playing some PlayStation, and it's a lot of great fun. Been playing the First Descendant, Black Desert, a lot of Black Desert, Awakened a Warrior, working on Awakening a Wusa, and on the First Ascendant, I bought the Battle Pass and a Freyna Descendant, which is great fun, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. So, till the next time I play, you know? And, yeah, we've had a lot of fun overall. Look, no promises. But if you're really wondering what this show is about, there's not really that much to it, you know? It's gotten to the point where I've run out of subject matter and topics to create and base my content around, and I think none of it made sense at all in the first place. Any sense, that is. So, we're just gonna call this Sofa Chat, and in terms of upload frequency, we'll see. But stick around for the first episode, because it's gonna be great, you know? I've always been the kind of YouTuber that stays low key and checks out other people's content. I not only have uploaded a lot of YouTube videos, I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and that's a lot of fun. But at the end of the day, the question is, what do you want to make Sofa Chat all about here on YouTube? Well, the answer might be simple. It might be complex. Heck, it might even be too complex for you to figure out and reason with yourself. But if you're watching this, shout outs to you. Shout outs to anyone watching Sofa Chat right now here on YouTube. And I would like to thank my dad for helping me attain this vape. It's a Geek Vape Legend 5, and it's a lot of fun. In fact, it's so much fun that it gives me the standard vaping experience, but it's an absolute beast of a build, and it makes me feel like a complete geek, considering it's under the brand Geek Vape, you know, and that kind of thing. So we'll take a sip of the drink and get straight into it. So, the last few days have been fairly straightforward. I think I have spent the last couple of days specifically playing a lot of PlayStation. Like a lot, like all day for the last couple of days. I will jump in on Discord chat and join a group chat, and I will just play away and chat away to the other people on that Discord chat. So yeah, that's great and all. And yeah, like I said, I've been playing Black Desert, the First Ascendant, and that's about all I've been playing. I've just been playing hours of those games and really enjoying my time playing those specific games. If you're wondering what system specifically I'm playing on, well, I'm a little hesitant to just say, but I'll say it anyways. Because it's not that it's an embarrassing situation. It's kind of like I've had so many systems now that it became almost pointless to specify what system I'm playing, but I finally settled, okay, and I finally opted for the system that I think is going to work best for me, and that's a PS5 Pro, okay? The PlayStation 5 Pro. I don't want to get into the specs because I've done this over and over again. I'll just simplify everything and say that it's got 16.7 teraflops of processing power, which is quite significantly more than the Xbox Series X, which is 12 teraflops. So take that for what it's worth and see where you go with it. Like, honestly, I don't think I'm the type of person who would encourage and condone that people play video games, but when you've got time to kill and when you're in the zone to achieve and accomplish something in game, why not? You know, it's not every day that I will instruct people and say, hey, you should play video games. Well, that's really a subjective matter, and I don't think I would recommend the video games lifestyle to anybody, but it's a life that I've chosen, and it has its ups and downs. It's happy times, in other words, and it's sad times. Sometimes I feel miserable, and it gets towards the end of the night, and I'm miserable from playing the same game for a few hours, so I decide, fuck it, I'll just go to bed and sleep. Sleep overnight, wake up the next morning feeling refreshed and ready to go for another gaming session. So, yeah, Sofa Chat is the name of this talk show, and I don't know how I can make it any more obvious, but to probably just state Sofa Chat in the title of the video, maybe call it the first episode, and I'm not looking to upload too often or too frequently, but once every 2 to 3 weeks, maybe once every month, I will upload a Sofa Chat video segment and episode per se to YouTube for you guys to enjoy. Okay, so I would say that we've covered the first topic of the day, which is video games. You know, it all comes down to preference. Some people like working out, which I've tried. Some people like using a PC, which I've tried. But in my case, I've really been enjoying playing video games on a home console, and that I find amazing, and I hope you find amazing this too. Sorry for my bad English, but when I get to the talking, I can't exactly keep full track of everything I'm saying, and I just have to kind of improvise and say as I go. So let's take a hit of the vape and just chill out for a little bit, and we'll move on to the first big main topic that we want to talk about. Okay, is am I still into acting? Heck, am I still into hip hop and rap? Do I like rapping still? And what has been the solution for this so-called acting career that I was trying to fiddle and fuck with for the longest time? I can give you a clue is that I don't anymore. I do not call myself an actor, and the solution to that problem has been watching film and enjoying watching film instead of trying to be an actor on YouTube, you know? Uploading videos of me with different facial expressions and moods and settings that I later move on to regret talking about. But I'll say that shit's kind of embarrassing. So just let me hit my vape, take a sip of the drink, and we'll move on from there. So, moving on to the main topic. These days, I'm not much of an actor. Heck, I can't even basically call myself an actor anymore. Um, it's not that I've lost the interest. I've always kind of had a mental allegiance with thinking this way, and I'll note I am permanently schizophrenic. So I did have a channel which I dedicated to that, but I later deleted during some kind of deep, dark mental regret. And it was a channel based on schizophrenia, but I just didn't think that in the long term it would be that interesting, and ended up deleting it. But am I still into hip hop and rapping? Well, after many hours of listening to hip hop and various recording sessions, uploading music, and that kind of thing on SoundCloud, specifically rap music, I've kind of lost the interest in rap. I'm not really a rap guy, you know. I may have had an initial interest during the very early stages of my life in rap and hip hop. It's just not something I'm going to be sticking with long term. Who knows, someday I may come back and make a comeback as an actor, but for now I'm kind of just loose ends, and I found the solution to evolve myself as a person rather than an actor. Now, when you consider yourself an actor, you're looking at ways to try and evolve yourself as an actor, progress your career, come up with better ideas, better acting techniques, ways to intrigue and interest people. You know, you work on your charm levels, which is kind of strange that I say, but male actors kind of have to have a certain charm to them, I believe, and heck, I regret deeply, but it's just something that I've lost track of, basically, and I've learned that the occasional session of watching a movie all the way through, basically, is one of the best ways to evolve yourself, not as an actor, but as a person. Your inner self, not just some image you're trying to portray to the outside world. Now, I watched The Butterfly Effect on HBO Max with Ashton Kutcher and various other actors and actresses. And at first I was a little uneasy going into the movie, feeling like, shit, I hope this isn't a horror movie, but it didn't turn out to be so much of a horror movie. More rather, it's more of a psychological thriller. Now, this movie absolutely turned me inside out and changed me as a person. After seeing what's considered quite graphic content on that movie, mentally processing and relating my personal life and my personal past, per se, through watching this movie, it completely changed me as a person. It completely redid everything in my head that I thought to be what I consider myself. I learned a strong factor is that everybody has an ego, and you can push out your ego as much as you want. Heck, you can even fake your ego as much as you want, but preferably you just have a natural ego, and people can believe your ego and believe that's who you are. But the strongest psychological factor that I learned and figured out and mentally processed through watching The Butterfly Effect on HBO Max was everything you do and see has a psychological event or trauma. That's if you are a traumatized person. I wouldn't consider myself a traumatized person. I think everybody at some point goes through some form of trauma. But everything you do, think, and say kind of has a mental sticky note that's related to either a past event, a dream you've had, something you want to happen in the future, interpersonal relationships that you've had with people, personal relationships, family members, heck, even just people you've passed down the street or someone you've said hi to in your apartment building or whatever living situation you have, you know. Specifically speaking, I live in a lodge and it's very apartment-like. I have a unit and this is my unit and shared facilities, and it really does feel like my home, and it does feel like a legit living scenario, but not just a scenario, it feels like a real house, you know, and it's a very big house. So when I'm standing out the front of my house and looking at it, it's a fucking huge mansion, but I simply live in a unit within the mansion with the shared facilities, and I have my weekly grocery budget, money I spend on energy drinks and food, vaping, video games, that kind of thing, you know. And through watching The Butterfly Effect, I basically mentally rehashed my whole life by relating each scene and each scenario almost directly and almost in a parallel kind of way that I drew from the movie an experience which would be described as basically, the movie is called The Butterfly Effect, and what I experienced was some kind of butterfly effect. I don't want to hype it up and I don't want to make it sound like some magical nonsense, but what I describe as the butterfly effect is each and every scenario and scene that goes through the movie, I had a background noise in my mind that would cycle through events from my life that I thought didn't matter, but to me they matter now. Things that have happened to me, around me, situations I've been in, things I've been through. For the longest time I thought nothing matters but now and just what I see in front of me, but that's not the case. The mind is a very interesting thing. And when you have a schizophrenic mind, or say brain like I do, a mental illness at that, and when you have a psychological condition that causes you to think in very complex and structured through to restructured ways, it causes you to be a little bit different from other people, but also it causes you to be a different kind of thinker from other people. But seeing me walk down the street on a day-to-day basis, you know, I will stroll down to the store to buy an energy drink some mornings. You wouldn't see me as that much different from anyone else. Heck, you may even see me as just another person walking down the street. And that's how I like to be seen when I walk down the street. I don't like to draw in any specific special attention or anything specifically different from other people. And that comes naturally as I do seem like just another human being. I just happen to have gone through many treatments, and I've been to a mental hospital. I've been to a schizophrenic rehabilitation center, countless therapy sessions, and meetings, taken various medications. Um, and the schizophrenia itself has never really been an issue. People just generally don't care that much if you're schizophrenic. It doesn't bother them. Heck, if anything, it's kind of funny, you know? It's kind of a funny thing that, hey, this guy's schizophrenic and he has a different brain. Um, that's kind of all there is to it. And through watching the butterfly effect, back to the main topic, through watching the butterfly effect, I went through a mm, psychological flip book, like a psychological flip book with pictures from my life, and I would connect each different event from my life to each different event in the movie, and then I would draw from the idea that he has like 3 to 4, maybe 5 different parallel universes where his life could have been or ended up, plus going back into the past and then blacking out and then moving straight into the future, maybe only by an hour or two. But it made me think nothing but I think I'm okay just being here in my own body. But not only that, maybe those neurotic symptoms that I have, some of the depression, the anxiety, the mental suffering, specifically a big one, if not the only one, is misery, will be the mental suffering, as I will have a miserable mood that I just have to sit and live with sometimes, which I hope improves over time. I think through some timing and some reasoning, I can learn to improve these things. And maybe all of these factors of my psychological and neurological condition of schizophrenia and psychosis in general would lead me to believe that I should enjoy my own mind, my experiences, and my schizophrenia more in a laid back kind of chill way in general, and not stress so much over the idea that I'm schizophrenic and these people aren't, and I'm different, you know? So, all in all, this has been Sofa Chat, episode 1, talking about my personal experiences with schizophrenia and whether or not I'm still an actor. Do I still like hip hop and rap? Do I consider myself a rapper? No. Do I consider myself an actor? No. But I have a mental kind of allegiance with watching film and seeing things through my eyes and thinking about it in my mind that might lead to me seeming quite much like what an actor would be. But then again, I just consider myself a person at the end of the day. So I'm glad you guys could tune in and watch. I'll take a little quick vape break here and a little sip of the energy drink, which caffeine and nicotine have done me wonders recently. I know it may not be the healthiest thing to consume as nicotine and caffeine through vaping and energy drinks and coffee, but something about those specific things just make life a little bit less boring, but also a little more inspiring, you know? Might as well turn on the vape before I vape it. So, this has been Sofa Chat. I'm glad I could be your host today. I am Joey Phoenix, as I am known on YouTube. And we've had a great chat today, and I'm glad I could talk things out, let you guys know what's going on, and delve a little bit into my psychological condition, which I have healed from. You know, I've been through the hardships and I've been through the tough times. Happy times, bad times, sad times, tough times. But schizophrenia is something you can heal from. You'll just happen to remain schizophrenic since, generally speaking, it's a lifelong condition. Something that sticks with you all throughout your life. And it doesn't always have to be bad. Heck, I believe firmly by now that it can be something good, something exciting, and something that kind of gives you a sense of newness every day. A newness that I have been experiencing for a while that may or may not wear off. Specifically when I wake up in the morning and I open my blinds and window, make a hot, fresh cup of coffee and just enjoy my morning playing some video games, watching some YouTube videos, listening to some music, chatting away to some friends online. And these psychological factors that I drew from and drew into myself through watching The Butterfly Effect. Two films that hit me the heaviest my entire life. I can go off and name many different films that I've watched that have had an impact on me, but the two main films that had a huge impact on me were The Butterfly Effect and Inception. I don't know if you guys have seen The Butterfly Effect or even heard of it. Some of you may have heard of it. It's kind of an oldish, modern era film. And Inception, which is a little more recent. I think I just like psychological thrillers. Anything psychologically interesting, I will have lenience and interest towards. And I'm just glad you could stick around today to watch the video. So this has been Sofa Chat. I am Joey Phoenix. Hope you enjoyed the show. Have a good day, good night, good evening, good morning. Heck, you might be watching this before you go into bed. Could be first thing you see when you wake up this morning on the YouTube. So peace out, guys. Have a good one. And I hope you enjoyed the show.